Streaming to YouTube. We are ready when you are, Chair Lebrecht.
Thank you very much. Calling to order the January 30th, 2025 Historic Preservation Commission meeting. I'd like to have us do the Pledge of Allegiance. Commissioner Erickson, would you help me with that, please?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you very much. May I have a roll call, Mr. Clerk?
Roll call for tonight's meeting. Ward,
Here.
Erickson,
Here.
Walker,
Here.
Lemaster, no, Mashlin,
Present.
Benoit,
Here.
and Chair Lebrecht.
Here.
Okay, you have a quorum.
Thank you very much. Are there any citizen comments on any subject, anyone who has signed in, either here in presently or online?
No one has signed in.
Thank you very much. We need an approval of the agenda and a consent agenda. Well, too.
I move that we approve the agenda and the consent agenda.
Second.
Any discussion?
The consent agenda.
All right, may we vote on that?
Voting on the approval of tonight's agenda and consent agenda. Erickson,
Yes.
Walker,
Yes.
Ward,
Yes.
Mashlin,
Yes.
Benoit,
Yes.
and Chair Lebrecht.
Yes.
Your agenda and consent agenda have been approved, and approved on the consent agenda were the November 14th, 2024 Historic Preservation Minutes.
Thank you very much. Item number 6, special orders, presentations, reports, proclamations, and awards. We don't have any new proclamations or awards at this point. The city administration report.
Yeah, nothing. We're good.
Anything at all? All right, thank you very much. Hearing none. Chair report, just wanted to report that we had an absolutely fantastic meeting earlier, a work session where we discussed not only a new nomination to the Seward Register, but also, more importantly, a CLG grant that we're going to be applying here for shortly that references Hoban Park work, and we'll talk about that a little bit later. Very happy on the meeting that we had regarding that. So good work. We are also going to be presenting 3 of our Seward Register plaques here over the next couple of months from our previous work, and those will be going out. We'll be inviting citizens to come join us to celebrate that. If anyone does know anyone that you believe, any property that's 50 years or older, which would under our rules allow it to be a historic property. If you can think of any properties, we do invite that, as well as anything that you would want to nominate for a local preservation award as well too. All that information is available on the website, but part of our work is recognizing projects of historic significance, individuals, or any properties that are going to promote not only the tourism, but just the historical significance for educational purposes and otherwise. So check out our webpage and take a look at that on the city site and see about nominating a structure, a person, or something that we can recognize. So looking forward to talking about that. The Historic Preservation Facebook page. Commissioner Benoit.
Okay, so you can see our packet, our stats from November 14th to January 15th. I would say that in general, things are staying pretty steady. Our page reach was about the same, maybe up a little bit. We did get 14 new followers. We got about 1,023 so far. Interaction with our posts were about the same. Our followers are pretty much consistent. We have mainly more women than men, all age ranges, generally over 25 years old. Most are from Seward and Anchorage. So really there's no big changes from what we have had. One thing that I've noticed, it seems like there is more interaction and activity in the summer than there is the winter, so it's kind of like our slow curve. The posts that are included here are the same ones that I've included in the past. They're what we have planned to go out through the end of October. And if anyone can think of anything new that also needs to go out, please let me know. Any events or special things going on, and we can add those in. And that's all that.
Thank you very much for keeping that up and making it vibrant and interesting. Appreciate that very much. No presentations at this point.
Excuse me, Chair
Yes.
Lebrecht. We actually do have 2 presentations on the agenda from yours truly as well as Ashley.
Oh, well, good.
I thought those were coming along later, so I would love to hear those presentations. Thank you very much.
Give me a minute here to get set up, and we will dig into it. Ashley, could you put us in presentation mode? So this presentation on the city website and e-notifications is for your benefit as well as anyone watching on YouTube. It's going to be kind of a hands-on tutorial with some updates that we've made to the city website. I'd just like to start with the city council button in the corner here. This is where we post the city council packet and the city council agenda. And then if you keep scrolling down, you'll see some additional items such as planning and zoning application, PACCAB application. And so if there was a vacancy on this commission, this is where people could find it. And then this council calendar is something that the clerk's office releases every Wednesday. And if you're not familiar with it, it might be a little intimidating to try to make sense of it, but we post the results from the most previous meetings at the top. So at this council meeting, these resolutions were approved. And then you just keep scrolling down and then you'll start seeing the agendas for the next meetings coming up. So there's the historic preservation agenda. And there we are right here. And then the planning and zoning agenda. And then we get into the upcoming meeting section, which just has the work sessions and the meetings and then the topics. And then another section for public hearings. These ones are for the planning and zoning meeting. And now this is the vacancy section for the boards and commissions. And then lastly, we end with a little note about writing into the clerk's office if you want to communicate with council or the boards and commissions. And for the paper copies on the bulletin boards around town, they have QR codes that you can scan with your phone and get to the website. And then Chair Lebrecht was mentioning the historic preservation page. I just want to show everyone who's watching where that is. It's in government and then boards and commissions. And it's actually split up. There's kind of the main page and then there's a meeting page. So if you go to the meeting page, you will find tonight's work session packet and the regular meeting packet. You click on that and it opens up in a PDF. Here's the Facebook report and the rest of the packet. And then some other things I wanted to show you on the website. We've added some links at the very top to make it easier to find things like the city code. So if you click on that, and then now you're in this MuniCode site. And if you want to find like historic preservation, you can just do a search at the top. You can find your commission right there. And then it has all the city code on the terms of office, the meetings, and then there's the powers and duties that I read from
That you
earlier
look-
during the work
Correct.
session. So
Thank you.
that makes it pretty easy to find things in city code.
It's really usable,
Really,
really
Yeah,
usable,
surprisingly
Chris. Yeah,
usable, yeah.
for people like me who don't understand that stuff.
And then we also have legislative history. This takes you to an external website and you can browse records. So if you go into like HP records, it's all organized by these categories, agendas,
That's fantastic.
minutes,
That
packets.
is really good.
If you wanted to read old historic minutes for the historic preservation,
that's really great.
go into 2008, and then this is the meeting date. So the meeting minutes.
That is an extraordinary amount of work.
So it's a great resource for
Yeah.
anyone who
Oh,
wants
yeah.
to spend some time on there.
Hey, Chris,
Mhm.
what year does it go back to? As someone who does
Let's
use
see.
City council meetings go back. to
1994?
94.
I mean digitized. Yeah, 94. Okay.
Let's see who was on the commission.
Some of these older ones,
Yeah.
Wiley, look at that, Wiley. Okay, keep going.
Virginia Darling, Dan Seavey,
Virginia
Walter
Darling.
Corrigan.
looks
Yeah.
like these older ones are all kind of scanned into one giant document, so you just have to do a lot of scrolling.
Mhm.
And the,
Just to go down and read them.
the more
Doug
modern
Capper
ones
was
are
presiding.
separate. Each meeting has its own
Yeah.
set of minutes.
It actually has links to the text of the municipal code.
But yeah, it has
Did I
links.
see earlier you said you could look up the municipal
Yeah, that would be
code?
this one. So they're right next to each other, city code and legislative history.
So for example, once St. Peter's figures out where its property lines are, if we wanted to find out how high we were allowed to build them, we could find out here. Awesome.
Yeah, I would also just
That-
recommend reaching out to the
That,
building department.
that comes by how you're zoned, how you're classified, and it's pretty easy to look at the zoning laws and see how high you can build. Just by figuring out what zoning you are.
And then lastly, a new feature I wanted to share with you is the subscribe button. So we make a lot of updates to the website in terms of uploading the meeting packets and the agendas and the council calendar, the council packets, all those things I showed you. But the easiest way to get these notifications is to type in your email here. And now you can sign up to our e-notification
All of that.
system, and you can choose which topics are
Oh,
of interest to you. I'm of course interested in everything, but you can pick and choose. So if you just want like historic preservation and planning and zoning, you just check those two boxes. And then you get an email from the city of Seward saying that the historic preservation packet is now posted on the website. Or for council, the council packet's on the website, or the city calendar is now posted, that type of thing. And there's also general news, there's emergency alerts, there's RFPs and bids. And you can always go back and modify your settings. You just type in your email and then you get to that screen and you can check the boxes or uncheck them. And then it takes you to this screen where there's just a ton of other things you can sign up for with the borough and the state. But that's sort of outside the scope of my presentation.
That's
But still,
extraordinary.
that's really, really nice.
You must have all had a big part in helping compile all that.
Yeah, the IT department worked with us to get this going. It was actually included with the website, but it was a feature that we'd never used until recently.
That's really good.
Fantastic.
So that concludes my presentation. Did you have any questions before I turn it over to Ashley?
No,
I
it's
didn't want to
really
say that that's
usable.
extraordinary. That's really something. I was kind of excited now. I think I would probably end up going down that little rabbit hole of reading all the notes, because I was seeing Doug Capper as our
Oh, yeah.
president and seeing all this. I started looking at, and then seeing Virginia on there on the, I mean, that's cool. So really neat to recognize the history of those before us by taking a look at what's, also maybe not redoing what we've already done. Might find some good nuggets there.
Very nice.
Thank you. We'd love to hear your presentation.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Really good.
Start over.
Oh, sure. Get started there. Yeah.
You're the only hand we need, right?
That's right. All right. Well, that's a perfect lead-in. Going back in time with the historic minute. Oh, yeah, I got it. There we go. Go back in time, but to keep things current, we also, if you're not aware, create the city manager newsletter, and that's the creation of Kat Sorensen. Yep, and
Like it
that's,
a lot.
Oh, good. Thank
Read
you.
it all
All
the
my
time.
fans. I'm very excited about that.
Thumbs up.
And you can subscribe to that as Chris showed you, and well, we'll just use him. Why not?
Why not? Model citizen.
It's quite thorough, and it's also quite just positive and community-based. Pretty cool.
Oh, yeah, thank you so much. And I'll just show you here. It's not very obvious, but you would click the city manager because it's the city manager newsletter, and then maybe a change in the future will get the word newsletter there.
In there.
And then I also send it out as general news. So I make one notification and I send it out to people who subscribe to the city manager and the general news. So I haven't heard any complaints yet about it coming on the general news wire. So we're going to keep it as it is. Then go back here. But you can also find it if you're not subscribed in the department's city manager, and then we keep an archive right here. So this is the most current one, and we'll go over that one, and then just added this little widget, and you can go back to
Wow,
find
look
them
at
all.
that.
Yep, so they're just kind of fun to look at, but since they are current, we don't have any way to really catalog them besides the date, so you'll just have to open them up. Yeah.
Can we look at one? There you go.
Oh, sure. We're going to look at this one, and it's actually Canva that we use, which is hosted on another site. And so it takes a couple seconds, or if you're impatient like I usually am, you can actually just click that link and it'll buzz you right there.
Beautiful.
This is a stock photo, but Chris Peck Photography often appears on the front page there. So.
Try to help out, right?
Yeah, totally. And then we draw from the city manager report. This is published sort of in tandem with the council meetings that are the second and fourth Monday. So it's not, I don't have a perfect schedule. It kind of depends on what's going on, but it's always right around the council time. So we draw heavily from the city manager report and then from our departments. So there's always a little word from the city manager, and we just had a big billing split where we split water and electric. So yeah, we're talking about it here. And then there's always links that you can click on inside, right? So that takes you to the online payments. And so, whoops, there we go, right back here. And they're easy to identify, just like always. It's going to be underlined like any other link. And then there you go. And then here we just kind of go through. Oh, it's so big. I have to keep scrolling to see one page. We kind of go through the departments, and then if you had a contribution, we do the community library and museum, and today it's just, for this edition, it's just the library, but when Allie has new cool displays, we just add a page after this, and then if you had something to contribute, we could add a page after this, but it would kind of be in this section, and here, you can take the survey on their hours, click there. The fire department, this is the new renderings, but they always have a bunch of cool pictures because it's the fire department. I mean, fire trucks. I mean, come on.
Wow, that looks...
Yep. That's pretty neat. That would go out by the Forest Acres Campground. And they always, so some pages, they're always updating this information. If you're interested in emergency calls, it's kind of like their version of the police report. And then we just kind of do whatever else is current. This is our Deputy Chief McCoy. She won the Fire Service Leadership Award, so that's pretty neat. We featured her.
Really cool.
Parks and Recreation always has a couple pages because they have so much going on, and they make these great flyers. This one's talking about the polar bear jump, again, contains links. I throw their flyer in there, give you a little background. I don't know if you know our council member, Casey Warner. She jumped for the 7th time, so that's pretty cool. It's been crazy weather, so all that ice is gone. You won't see Jim out here on his little machine lately, but, and then you can always link to their calendar. We always keep that current. Oh, well, it's back here. There we go. And then Teen Rec Room, and this is all gone by now, but you get the idea.
Yeah, it's really,
Yep.
really well done.
Oh, well, thank you so much. Electric utility, they have some fun pictures too. I mean, it's tough to go through, but disaster pictures are fun to look at. And then the harbor, just kind of what's happening down there. Tony always likes to include how many lifts they're doing, which is interesting to someone out there.
It's interesting to me. I've
there
been
you-
on that list.
That's right. You've lived in your sailboat. Finance, we're still looking for a great picture to represent finance, but they have a couple positions to fill, so I co-opted Uncle Sam here. And then you can link right to the job descriptions if you're interested, if any of you are bored in your retirement. Public Works, again, always has great pictures, and you learn a little something from Doug. These look all shiny and new, newly painted. Apparently they're painted every year, so the snow slides off, so I didn't know that. And they just look cool. A little tech bite from our IT department. I really like to read these because he tells you all something interesting, like how to open a window you accidentally just closed, and it's been cybersecurity a lot because we just got through Christmas, so it was, like how to stay safe online. You probably heard community development. I think they were here last meeting talking about the surveys, and these go through May, but so he's still got his media blitz on, and then like you can link to all the surveys through here. And anyone inside or outside city limits can take those, so just be aware of that. And then we love our QR codes. Always, we get our job applications down through here. All these links work. You can click on the picture or the link, and you can find the application right here. And then we keep you up to date on the next council meetings coming up. And then contact information, this one's mine. And so if you have a suggestion for contributions, feel free to email me. And then you can also get to the YouTube and the Facebook here. Whatever, you've seen the Facebook. Yeah, so there you go.
Wow.
I think that's,
really-
seriously,
Thank you.
Seriously good.
really cool.
Thank you, thank you.
Ever add anything about the commissions?
We do have, about the commissions when there's something interesting going on.
Something interesting, like when we work on maybe a CLG grant or something like that.
Hoban
an
Park.
ongoing project. That'd be cool. All right, those were
Yeah,
great. Thank you
thank
very
you.
much. You set the bar high for the next meeting for your presentations. We'll be expecting many more.
Top that one.
Oops.
All right, so let me go back to, those were presentations. Thank you very much. We already looked at minutes of the previous meeting and approved those. No other unfinished business except, there is unfinished business, but moving to the next page. Hoban Park updates. Would this is normally just our ongoing conversation about Hoban Park, but I think that we will talk about Hoban Park in the CLG application review further on. Is that correct? There's no other current Hoban Park happenings right this very minute. Okay. Stucco Johnson home site sign. Commissioner Benoit?
Okay, so the draft sign for that was completed, and I sent out to review by Colleen at Resurrection Bay Historical Society, Carol Griswold, who wrote basically the original sign that was there, and Melanie House from the city. There was a few minor edits that were suggested, and I sent those back to the sign designer and finally got what I thought was the final. So I sent it out to these guys again, just here's your last chance. And Carol did have some additional ideas that she wanted, so I'm going to take those and submit it again to Corvus, and then we'll have a final. And maybe, now that I see that, maybe next time I'll bring it, we can put it up there and you can see it. So that's the process. we're working on the final proofs. And that's that for Stucco Johnson sign description.
Yep, please do.
Okay, so the next one is the collaborative project, Rotary Park interpretive signs. So Rotary is working on 2 signs, which we're a partner on these signs. Our logo is listed. The sign, one of the signs is one to be placed at the end of the boardwalk on 3rd Avenue. And it's really a summary of the Rotary Park project, where we have other signs that we also partnered on. That sign the draft is done. It's currently being reviewed by Rotary. And then after we kind of get those updates done, I'll send it to the city to review. And then hopefully that will be ready for production. Let's see. The interactive whale art, which is going to direct attention to this joint project. We received a grant extension to have that whale installed at, sometime
Better weather.
in May. Because we know as soon as we put it out there, everyone's going to be like, oh my God, what's that? They're going to want to know. And we'd like to do a public presentation or an unveiling and talk about the whole project. So instead of trying to do that like in February, when no one wants to come out for that, we just are going to put it off so that at the end of May or early June, we'll have it all installed and we'll do a public presentation. And then finally, the booklet on Jan Van Empel. That's something Todd will probably have some things to say about that, but to my knowledge, the church has agreed to pay for the publishing costs for the booklet. And so the book narrative work is going to be done by Doug Capper, and he's going to be doing that part, and editing and title designs is going to be done by me. And Doug and I talked about working on that in March, April. So it's kind of like the tentative schedule. I don't know if you have other things you want to add to that.
No, that was fine. I think the diocese has authorized up to $2,500, if I recall correctly. It might be $1,500. I'll have to double check. Towards the printing costs of the book. I understand that Doug does want to include index, and there will need to be some discussion about how many color plates, how many black and white plates will be included, and then determining what the final cost will be to publish a first run. Mm-hmm. And if we need to expend beyond what has been authorized, depending on how much it is, we may be able to cover that as well. But as soon as everything is put together, we hope to have a launch party. Not that the printing will be completed and may be so that the books will be available, but I think Doug would love an opportunity to present his new research that is being incorporated into the reprinting of the chapter from his existing book, which is that narrative work that was mentioned earlier.
Okay, and that is all I have.
Thank you very much. Quite a bit. St. Peter's updates. Commissioner Messer.
Ally has been working with True North Solutions, based out of Wasilla, I believe.
Yep.
On putting together a bid or a quote for a HABS report, a Historic American Building Survey, which will then be used as our launch pad for putting together what we expect is going to be a 2 to 3 year long preservation, rehabilitation, and restoration project, including both the church and the rectory. Landscaping etc. The planning commission, planning and zoning will have to be involved because we are considering combining the structures at some level or levels. And because they're currently platted on 2 separate plots, we would need to go through the process of combining them. But there's a whole process for that. We'll have to figure out when we need to cross that bridge. Ally has something to say about the scanning remote imaging, Alaska remote imaging, please.
Yeah, so Alaska Remote Imaging, I reached out to City of Seward this past fall. And the library hopped onto it. They create 3D models where you can put on the internet, you can publish them. And the library got a full scan, 3D model scan, and it looks incredible. So what I've been working on with it now is they scan the museum and it's becoming a virtual museum. So you can do tags, you can look at different artifacts and such. So they did a great job. And they asked me if they want to dip their toes into historic preservation and do historic buildings and historic homes. And I told them about the project for St. Peter's, and they were just like, oh yes, absolutely. They gave Tongi and I a quote that was about like $4,000. The entire interior would be scanned, the exterior would be scanned. There's a few extra dollars for like thermal sensing of the roof, just so you can then see if a leak's going to be starting to come up or such. But we're exploring that possibility, and St. Peter's would be a step. Alaska Remote Imaging would actually be very interested in presenting to the Historic Preservation Commission in April to discuss taking the walking tour. They suggested this, not me. They saw the walking tour online and would like to make a digital formatted version of it.
Wow.
So you could see a property and...
I told them, I was like, a lot of people live there, they're private businesses, but the exterior of a
Exterior
historic.
would be extraordinary.
So, something to chew on and everything.
But that certain structures that are otherwise open to the public, such as St. Peter's,
That could be an interior one.
could include the same level of interior virtual exploration option that the museum.
I would submit that that would be so cool that that could be something you could eventually get recognized on some national level or some award or something, because unless somebody else has done it, that seems like something that would be extraordinary to have something of that level online.
It's becoming very popular.
Is it?
In historic preservation. So the kind of the breakthrough was with, am I pronouncing it correctly? Lahana.
Oh, yeah. In Hawaii.
So they took HAB surveys and they recreated it in
That's
a 3D
amazing.
model. So there's talk with Alaska Remote Imaging. They have the people to do it, but they've never done historic preservation before. And so they started like, oh, well, let's start off easy and do what we're been doing, like creating these models, but make it a historic preservation tour.
That'd be great.
Sounds like a future CLG grant right now.
Yeah, that's.
Yeah, basically. But chew on it, and they're willing to come down at any time. They will be coming back to the library in May, but I kind of gave them our schedule. Like, we meet 4 times a year. They'll be more than happy to come down and present what they would like to do. So,
That'd be
Based on our
great.
trustee calendar here, it would be April 10th, is that correct?
Yep.
Pretty interesting. So if that's the case, we could just, if we're agreeing to that, we just add that on to that meeting schedule.
and it would be during the presentation slot.
That'd be fantastic. That's really cool.
And when
All right.
I'm done with the model, museum model, I'll send it to you all, so I can get some feedback on that.
I got a little sneak peek.
Yeah,
It's
you
pretty
saw a little
amazing,
bit,
pretty
yeah.
amazing. So Seward Local Register Plaque Awards. We did decide at a previous meeting that we would be awarding, based on our criteria and so on, 3 awards. Did I leave those? Do you have them?
I have them.
You can hold one up and show what it looks like for anyone
Sorry,
that's
I
on
was
the
gonna take them.
tube. I should have kept them over here. But we have Urbox, the Quonset Hut, and the Standard Oil Manager's House. So they look like that. If you can see, I don't know if you can see on the video or not, but they're nice little plaques that are affixed typically to the exterior of homes. They have the little description of the name of that property and the year that it is attributed to it. And those are really cool things. So a lot of our historic walking tour places, for example, do have those on there. But it's a recognition of that is also shown on our webpage and other places as being a home of local importance and being on our official Seward Local Register. So we have 3 coming up, and we have invited those folks to join us here at meetings, so we may have on future meetings some folks join us, or we'll be doing awards otherwise to them personally.
Yes, we have 2 of them planning to come up April 10th to get their.
So that'll go on our agenda. So thank you very much for that, Commissioner Benoit. All right, that takes us to new business. Should I just start with number 3? Just skip 1 and 2? Just joking. So item number 1, 2, is it appropriate for you maybe to bring that up, Mr. Clerk?
So the first order of business here is to nominate and select a chair for 2025. And we will start by having a commissioner make a nomination and then a vote.
Well, I'd like to nominate Tangi to be our chairperson again.
Do I was saying that? No, just kidding. Thank you.
Does anyone
What's the
second-
procedure from there?
Does anyone second the
I second
nomination?
it.
Got a lot of fans out here.
I'll take that as a compliment or that, well, I'll just take that as a compliment. How about that? Let's leave it at that. Thank you.
If there's no other nominations, we can vote. Voting for Tanguy Lebrecht as chair for 2025. Erickson,
Yes.
Walker,
Yes.
Benoit,
Yes.
Ward,
Yes.
Mashlin,
Yes.
and Chair Lebrecht. Do you
I
accept the
will-
nomination?
I will accept the nomination. That's a yes. Thank you very much for your
Congratulations.
confidence.
Yeah, thank you for your service as chair.
Really, honestly, it's for one, it's us having a full commission now has made all the difference in the world. And then really the collaboration, working with Ms. Stacy, working with you, working with Ms. Lipsy, this collaboration that we have with the city is really honestly the only reason. Working with these commissioners, with the group that we have here, and working with the collaboration that we have with you guys is the only reason that I would say yes, because it's a good place. I think that we're getting good work done, and it's a pleasure to serve.
It's great to hear. Thank you.
Thank you for that. Now, item number 2.
Item number 2 is the same process, but it will be for nominating and selecting the vice chair.
I'd like to nominate Ms. Ward, Commissioner Ward, if that's okay.
It's
I'll
okay.
second that.
Yeah, it's okay.
Okay, if there's no other nominations, we will vote for the vice chair. Mashlin,
Yes.
Walker,
Yes.
Benoit,
Yes.
Erickson,
Yes.
Ward,
Yes.
and Chair Lebrecht.
Yes.
There we go.
Okay, Sue Ward, vice chair. Congratulations and thank you for your service.
Yes, thank you for
thank
service.
you both.
And thank you for what everybody
Yeah.
does.
No, this commission, I have to echo Tangi, this commission is really first rate. And the staff, yeah. First rate.
First rate. Thank you very much. All right, so let's talk about the 2025 CLG, which stands for the
Wait, we have
Certified
number
Local
3.
Grant.
Wait, you
Oh, I'm
skipped-
sorry, I skipped ahead. More presentations. Nancy Drew and the Mystery of the Half Moon Painting. I've got to hear this presentation.
We just didn't know the last meeting.
There was some general curiosity about the half moon painting, if that was ever found.
Donna, you brought that up, didn't
Yes.
you? I think you were the one that brought that up.
Wasn't it in some building or something?
We love a good mystery here.
Yeah.
Could we
Yeah.
find a painting though?
I don't remember where I saw it.
I know. We're having a senior moment.
I didn't know if you went and looked for it.
Yeah.
If there's no updates, we could skip to the next
Yeah.
item.
But
We
there
were
was
gonna go
a,
downtown.
yeah, we were gonna go downtown. I volunteered to assist.
And we
What's
didn't
the general context though, because I don't know what the happened.
There was
Is it
a painting.
historic painting?
There was a painting. That's what, Donnie, you brought it up.
Senior moment.
Yeah. Historic painting of some sort, and it was in a basement
Oh.
somewhere?
It was a beautiful painting,
Mm-hmm.
similar to what you have in the church, you know, how beautiful it is. Well, this is beautiful too, and it was in the basement of one of those buildings downtown.
It wasn't in Brown and Hawkins, because I
No,
helped
no,
clean
no,
that out.
Across the street.
Yeah,
Where
Brown and
that-
Hawkins, it was not there.
Where was that shop that was selling used goods in the basement? It was further down that aisle.
Oh,
Oh,
Gypsy
Sea treasures,
Okay, but it was beyond that, further down
the hallway.
the
I
hallway.
remember, it used to be a yoga studio that,
Who owns that now? Is that still
Kellyanne
Randy?
had, and there was a big painting down there.
Half Moon, like,
I kind of remember.
Yeah, it was
maybe a moon.
this-
Seemed like it had a bear. Polar bear? Maybe
I
a
know the
moon?
Jesslyn Home used to keep, the Jesslyn Home, when they're trying to preserve it, kept their stuff down there. So I'd go down there.
So
My
was it
daughter
a Jesse
in
Lee
charge
Home
of that.
painting?
It was built in the building, and it was like a half moon, and it had a scene on it. Pretty
Well,
scene.
that's Randy owns that. Is that the Emerald?
Yeah,
Isn't
it
that
was
the where Randy
downstairs from the
owned?
Tufted Puffin.
Right, I thought Randy owned that building, so we could go, I'd be happy to go down there and take a look.
Well, yeah, you said we were going to, and
Yeah.
then you didn't do it.
No, you were in charge of it, not me. I
Okay.
volunteered to
We have
assist.
to go do
And
it.
that is
Yeah.
why it's still a mystery.
That's right.
Then
I
I'll
went
put a
to France.
picture.
I'm gonna tell you, we're gonna leave this agenda item on here for next time until we figure this out.
Okay.
That's what we do.
Okay, so it's a half moon painting. We think it's in the
I know.
Tufted Puffin building. We'll go down and take a look. I'm happy to go down and take a look.
Take a picture and we'll put it on
Yeah.
the
That's
screen
right.
the next time.
Yep.
There you go. We'll put it on the screen. I might do something like computer.
Awesome. Thank you. Now, moving on to the 2025 Certified Local Government Grant Application Review. There is a certified local government grant opportunity that is available. It is similar, they come out about once a year from the State Historic Preservation Office using federal funding pass-through. The last time that we did this was the historic walking tour. We also did apply last year with the ask to have more signs done for the walking tour. At that point in time, there were so many applications across the state for this money that we did not successfully get a grant for the additional signs last year. So we threw around some projects that we might consider for this coming year. In consultation with the State Historic Preservation Office, they still looking at their priorities. We're not really focused so much on us doing more signage. Some of their priorities that they mentioned in their FY23 priorities for grant funding are projects that increase public awareness of historic preservation and establish partnerships, projects that address rehabilitation of historic properties and leverage funds and resources, such as restoring and preserving defining elements of historic properties and addressing their sustainability. Some other things, projects that encourage historic preservation at the local level by supporting heritage and cultural tourism programs. Those are really the 3 out of their 6 priorities which are available online that really are applicable to us, that we thought made it sense for us to pick Hoban Park and the fencing, the original fencing at Hoban Park, as being a project worthy of consideration. This is actually, if you were to go back and look on the wonderful city website at all the minutes from over the past years, this question of this Hoban Park fencing has come up many times. At first it was kind of like Nancy Drew, finding the fencing, and then we found the fencing, and the fencing is, physically exists. I've actually seen pictures of it. It is being curated and taken care of by Parks and Rec, who have been quite kind in trying to establish how fixable this fencing is. So to explain, the fencing would have been along the little concrete wall out by Sea Life Center at Hoban Park, and it was, there's some original pictures of it. It was a metal fencing that was attached to that concrete and went around the front of that park was maybe not super tall. It looks like it might be maybe, say, 4 feet or so high, possibly cast iron, we believe. The problem is at some point in time they decided to take it out. When they did that, the way that it was affixed was through metal rods in the concrete, which were then cut off. I don't know if there was that sound, but they were cut off. They were pulled off, and as a result, we have hundreds of feet of fencing, which is currently with Parks and Rec, safely tucked away there, but it's bent, it's twisted a little bit, and the bottom parts where it attaches are cut off. So we believe that in order for that to be restored to its original glory, it would have to be properly stripped by a professional of the paint and so on that's on it, safely so, straightened out, reaffixing some type of an attachment mechanism, probably through some type of welding, and then proper painting and preservation of that, and then reinstall of it. From our perspective, it means that we have to write the grant, which is due here shortly. We will be looking for, it's on the 7th, it's due. So we're in the process of doing that. We will need and we'll be looking for letters of support from the community. So we have a list of those. But if anyone is interested that might be watching this in providing a letter of support for Hoban Park, that would be really wonderful. So we'll be looking to get that in the next year, get that completely fixed and reinstalled. That would have to be done by the end of September in 2026 is the deadline. We then we're going to go write the application, we're going to get that turned in, we're going to put the letters of support with it. We have to solicit bids, and we have to monitor and make sure that the work is executed appropriately. And then we would need some public celebration, ribbon cuttings, and promotion of such. It is on the walking tour. By the way, Hoban Park is on the list of the National Register list as well. So it's a historic place on the National Register, hence tract at Library of Congress and all that. So it's worthy, I think, of our consideration. We talked about this in our work session, and with the help of Miss Stacy, we actually went and kind of did the groundwork for the application and the responsibilities of the commission and what all that we would be doing. So thank you to our museum curator for helping us through that, and the support of administration as we go through this process. We have understood from the State Historic Preservation Office that they at least preliminarily feel that that's a good project that would be worthy at least of consideration. It then goes before a state commission that then makes it the Historical Society, which decides whether it is a project that is worth funding. After that point, then once we would get to where we might consider accepting funding on this 60-40 match grant, then it would go before City Council for approval before we actually accept and or expend any monies. I do believe, based on the budget and similar to what we did with the walking tour, that we would meet most of the responsibility of the 40% responsibility of the city's part of that we would actually be able to cover a whole lot of that with our hours as well that would go into it. So it's a federal share of 60%, a sponsor share of 40%, and I can tell you that probably we would call on the help of our citizens to help us through this too as we go through this restoration of the Hoban Park fencing and possibly, and also some vegetation that we're talking about too. You may know that there were historic lilacs that we've tried to get going there again. There might be some rose bushes and things around town, if you happen to know of any locations as well that have some of those historic plants that we would be interested in putting back in. Certainly contact the commission about that, or city clerk's office. But we're basically looking to restore the fencing and or some of the vegetation that's there, and then protect it with some type of a fencing deal so that once we put it up, it's protected. And that would restore Hoban Park to its original glory as a National Register property, and also just as something that's treasured here in Seward and celebrated. So, any questions, thoughts, any additions by commissioners?
Just one thought, we previously had put in for a CLG grant for more historic walking tour sites because we had designated 10 properties from our list that wanted a sign in the future. And it seems like we didn't get the grant because it was very competitive, and also they were really looking for things that are related to the National Register of Historic Places, I think, to be the most competitive. So you and I have had this discussion a little bit about, that doesn't mean that these signs will never happen. There could be other possibilities to get the funding to do those signs, such as maybe the people that would like a sign would be willing to pay for their own sign. We could still do that work and make it happen, or I don't know if there's other options for raising money, but I just wanted to put that out there.
Yeah,
That doesn't mean that we'll never do that, but
Right now.
we'd have to figure out.
There's definitely
Other
interest.
possibilities.
There's definitely interest upon it, and what the residents need to know, or anyone that's watching, our community needs to know, anyone that's watching this, we are not allowed as a commission to do any fundraising specifically. So that would mean that if private individuals were to say, well, what properties are you actually considering? We could certainly share that information of properties that are interested in being as part of the walking tour. And then there could be private fundraising that could happen. It cannot be led by us. We cannot be associated with it as a commission. It would have to be something that would happen on a private level. So if there were somebody that would be interested, that's something they could talk about. I don't know even what the proper way would be, probably to contact the city clerk's office and let them know that you'd have interest. But the walking tour has been hugely successful. It's definitely a part of what we do. Also, if you didn't watch earlier, you could take a look that on the new city website and so on. You can actually see our walking tour. You can also go to any of the signs and you can look at the signs, hit the QR code to something. It'll take you right back to the history of each one of those homes, and you can see that we continue doing more and more at the walking tour, even to the point of us discussing potentially digitizing some of these structures and so on. So it's become a feature that's well represented, and that we'll continue putting some energy into, but not on this CLG grant this time. Thank you for that, and thank you for all the hard work on that walking tour, which is quite a success. So we also have a Seward local register nomination review because we have one applicant. Would somebody like to read about the applicant? Perhaps?
Sue, please sue.
Nope, I don't want to.
Somebody.
Okay. Let's see, we have an applicant, which is currently Flamingo Lounge, historically showcase lounge, or Gills, I think it's called. And so they have submitted an application to be considered on a Seward Historic Register as a commemorative property. And so they submitted some information about why they think that they should be considered, which is really amazing information. So I'll just go ahead and read that if you think that's appropriate. So we believe the Thorns Building holds historical significance in the city's cultural and social scene dating back to 1952. Although a fire in 1971 destroyed the original interior, to this day, the 1970s interior is mostly upheld. With its red padded seating, string lighting, and erstwhile decor, the interior is like a trip back in time with its dimly lit, retro vibe delightfully filled with the community character. We recently refurbished the original bubble lettering on the building, originally installed in 1972, but it is best known for the hundreds of Jim Beam whiskey decanters adorning the wall-to-wall showcases, which represent only part of a larger collection by Gene Thorne. His massive collection encompasses several decades worth of specialty bottles that we as the new owners have organized and preserved for history. The lounge is tied to another place, Gill's Lounge, which was established in 1946 or 1947 in the Palace Cafe building by Harley Hal Otto Gilfillet.
Gilfilling.
1903 to 1989, and his wife Clara, or Claire. A few years later, in 1950, Gill's Lounge relocated to 208 4th Avenue. They operated Gill's Lounge until 1961, until it became Thorn's Showcase Lounge. Thorn's is listed in A Guide to the Notorious Bars of Alaska by Doug Vandergraaf.
I love it.
In March of 1952, Louis Eugene, or Gene Thorne, arrived in Seward and shortly thereafter started employment as a bartender. He was professionally associated with several notorious bars, including the Palace, 1904 to 1917 and 1933 to 1985, at 133 4th Avenue. In 1962, Solly's, 1956 to 1980, at 406 Washington Street. In 1966, and Gill's Lounge in 1967. In 1960, Thorne met and married a nurse who had moved to Seward from New York. In 1959, Patricia Pat and Clancy Thorne. 1937 to 2017. The Flamingo, also a historical establishment in Seward, opened in February 1953. The papers called it a beautifully appointed, completely modern establishment with coral hues and a mahogany paneling. Ultra-modern is the only word to describe the new cocktail bar, Flamingo. It had huge upholstered chairs of Flamingo Red. Originally established in the side street of the Liberty Theater, patrons would not know of its existence except for the neon-lighted Flamingo
Ooh, I want that Flamingo.
on the street corner. The Flamingo, over the course of its 30-year original existence, transformed into an establishment which survived by scandalous gossip and stories full of history. So that is its reason for wanting to be on Seward Historic Register.
Thank you very much for that. We had
And if anyone knows where that original Flamingo
I know, I was gonna say, I have a trailer full of Flamingo stuff. I'd love that someday.
There was a lot of really good input by the commissioners during our historic preservation work session earlier. It is appropriate for us, I need to have a motion. Can I make the motion, or I need to have somebody else do that?
You can make the motion.
Okay, so we have a application before us for local historic register, and per our discussion earlier, I'd like to make a motion that we place the Gill's Lounge, AKA formerly Thorne's Showcase Lounge, also known currently as the Flamingo Lounge, on the local Seward Register and award them a plaque recognizing such, which will also then need city council resolution. So it's Gill's Lounge, formerly Thorne's Showcase Lounge, currently Flamingo Lounge, and the motion is to put it on the local Seward Register and award a plaque recognizing that designation.
I second the motion.
Okay. We need any discussion? Or are we ready to move to a vote?
You're welcome to have some discussion if you'd like. Otherwise, we can vote.
I say vote.
That motion was fairly lengthy, so I'm not going to repeat it if that's okay. I think you all understand. Motion to place Thorns on the Register of National Historic Places.
No,
And
Seward Historic.
only
Seward.
Seward. Sister- no,
Or Seward.
Did I say national?
Yes.
And the-
Register of Seward Historic Places.
And the only specification I make is per the criteria that we established earlier. It's either a yes, maybe, or a no, so it's not our normal voting. I don't know if we need to follow that criteria as well, too. That's how we established before.
For this format, you can only vote yes or no.
Then we'll just go with yes or no.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right, Erickson,
Yes.
Benoit,
Yes.
Mashling,
Yes.
Ward,
Yes.
Walker,
Yes.
and Chair LeBret.
Yes.
Okay, that motion has passed.
Award them a plaque.
All right, award them a plaque, that's right.
Yay, Flamingo.
All right, thank you very much. And we'll need somebody somebody will volunteer to possibly contact them and let them know.
I'll volunteer if I can get all your emails about it so far, so.
Yeah, perfect.
All right, so, thank you very much. So, reminder of meetings, our next regular meeting work session is on April 10th. Sounds like we will be awarding plaques at that time, as well as having a presentation from Alaska Remote Imaging on the work that they are doing or proposing to do for us. Any material need to be submitted by Wednesday, March 19th. There are no other items unless anyone else has anything else to add. Do we have any citizen comments for tonight? All right, then I'd move to commission and administration comments. Could I ask our clerk and deputy clerk if they have any comments at all?
I'd like to say that it was a great meeting and work session, and I heard a few of you mention submitting photos that we can look at on the TV. I think that's a great idea.
That's great.
As they say, a picture is worth 1,000 words. So if you want to submit photos for meetings of like the historic fence or seeing how it looks in storage or that type of thing, just send them to me and we can put them in the packet or just have them as a separate presentation. But I think it's a great idea to take advantage of the big TV, and we can also put it on YouTube as a full screen version of the TV. We just switch the HDMI input on that thing.
Thank you. All right, Ms. Lipsy, anything that you'd want to share?
Yeah, I'll just say thank you. Thanks for listening to the presentation. Tell your friends. Subscribe. Thanks for being excited about it.
That newsletter's great.
It is.
So
Thank you so much.
everyone check out the city manager's newsletter, get on that list. All right. Ms. Lipsy, anything you'd like to add?
Thank you for being open-minded with Alaska Remote Imaging. They are very excited, so.
Awesome. Great. Commissioner Erickson.
This has been great. I feel like we've been catapulted into the 20th century a little bit with
The Historic Preservation Commission. We have technology.
Thank you. Thank you for bringing us forward, Jeff, and thank you all. So, and thank you, commissioners. We really enjoy working with you all.
All right. Commissioner Walker.
I am same as her.
Vice Chair. Word.
I like that.
Yeah.
No, it's a great group, and we have good meetings, and I think we've got lots of projects out there. So I'm excited. I'm excited to see what we're going to be doing.
I appreciate all of you very much. Again, the collaboration with administration is absolutely outstanding. The guidance that we received from Ms. Stacy is just really great. And there's a lot of preparation that goes into these meetings, and I'm going to tell you that I do a little bit of it, but she does most of it. So I really
Amen.
appreciate that. And the support from our city clerk and everyone as well, too. All my commissioners, I appreciate you all. Commissioner Erickson, it's not lost on me that this is not just your second term, but second time around, and that you were instrumental in the Historic Preservation Plan. It was a tremendous amount of work way back when that guides a lot of what we do today. So I want to thank you for that and always having insightful input. Commissioner Walker, all the perspective and all the stories and all the history that you have of truly being somebody who really understands Seward and really has a lot of that history on where we came from. I very much appreciate your involvement and your dedication to us. Thank you for that very much. My vice chair, always there to offer a word and to help with everything from the applications to preparing for these meetings as well too, to just dedication and support. Drinking coffee. I appreciate that very much. And I'm going to miss some things, so I apologize. And Commissioner Benoit, thank you for the many thousands of hours on that historic walking tour that we have, your Facebook post, your passion for everything to do with the commission and your service. I'm sure I'll leave out something, but you guys are all amazing. Thank you very much. Commissioner Mashlin, thank you so much for keeping St. Peter's in the forefront of our minds, because it's a very important historical building. Part of the responsibility that we have as a commission is to really point out buildings and areas of significance that need to be preserved, and so your championing of that is super important, so thank you. Well, Commissioner Benoit.
I was really happy with this meeting. I feel like we got so much done in a short period of time. It was amazing to watch you. You were like a little Tasmanian devil getting through that grant application, making it all happen. So, wow. I was also really impressed with the presentations and love the fact that we have technology like this now available for future meetings. It was really nice. I was very excited that we had one of our local businesses submit an application to want to be in a Seward Historic Register. That made me really happy. So I hope other people out there will consider the treasures that you may have in your own personal building and consider, you know, a nomination for yourself or for someone else. I'm also super excited about this digital potential tour of the walking tour. I think that sounds amazing. And I'm very happy about all the help you guys have been giving and all the work Todd has been doing with others to really bring along what's happening with getting St. Peter's fixed, because it's a place we all really care about. So thank you all.
Thank you. Commissioner Maslin.
It's 8:05. Good night.
Thank you very much. May I have a motion to adjourn?
I so move.
Second.
Second?
Thank you very much. Hearing that, I am calling to close the Historic Preservation Commission meeting for January 30th, 2025 at 8:06 p.m. Thank you, everybody, for your hard work and input.
There you go.